What is going on, people? Triple M back again with another video. I hope you guys are doing well. Tonight I would like to talk about England's 1-0 win over Serbia, which was a very lethargic, underwhelming and anticlimactic end to a game that really a lot of neutrals like myself were hoping we would see an upset. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. If you're an England fan, it's probably a very infuriating performance. So let's talk about the game, because I think the lineup is the first place we're going to start when it comes to England's setup in this game. Trent in the midfield was the talking point of most of the game. Phil Foden's underwhelming performance in that game, Jude Bellingham's heroics, obviously scoring the goal and probably being England's standout performer, along with Bakayoko Saka. I thought he had a very decent game and was one of England's brighter players. Him and Bellingham, as well as Gueye in the defence, were probably England's best players. Apart from them three, it was a lot of negatives, and we'll talk about why in this video. I think first of all, we've got to look at England's midfield structure in tonight's game. I think this is where England's problems really started, because they built up in a 3 against a Serbia team that really was sitting back and wasn't looking to press them up high, and they got away with a lot that I don't think they would get away with if they were playing against a better team. First and foremost, I feel like Declan Rice was very isolated in the midfield. And against Serbia, it doesn't really matter because you get away with it. But against a quality team like France or Portugal or Spain or Germany or any other of the top tier teams in the Euros, I think England would have been punished if they set up like they did today. Rice being isolated is bad for two reasons. One, if he's getting pressed up and there's this big of a numerical advantage in the midfield, he's going to be in trouble in most games because he doesn't really play on the half turn and look to distribute the ball up the pitch. He's somebody who, when he gets the ball in these areas, is very safe, as far as I'm aware. Especially today, I saw him play a lot of back passes and just look to recycle possession rather than play on the half turn and distribute it up to the Fodens and the Bellinghams. And it felt like Trent wasn't giving him much help either. Again, Trent playing in the midfield, it's something a lot of football fans have said would work for England, and Southgate has finally tried it. And this is the difference between practice and theory. In theory, Trent in the midfield works really well, in theory, because he's got the technical ability to distribute the ball in almost any area of the final third. But the problem is he needs to be facing the goal in order to do that. And so Trent needs to be playing in a more advanced position when he plays in the midfield. The problem is you've already got Foden and Bellingham. Now, Bellingham did a good job of dropping in deep and helping Rice today and being a good ball carrier. But I fear that against a better team, he's also not going to cut it. You need someone like a Mainu. Now, Mainu might not be experienced enough and might not be good enough because of his age, but Mainu's the right profile that England needed today. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a United fan. I'm saying that because stylistically, he's the only midfielder that I can think of in the current England squad at the Euros that can play on the half turn, that can receive the ball in tight spaces and distribute his way out of trouble. Whereas with Bellingham, he's more of a ball carrier, similar to Phil Foden. He's also a ball carrier. You don't want Phil Foden or Bellingham receiving the ball in deep areas against an opposition that's pressing really high and knows what they're doing, and not just sitting back like Serbia. Equally, I feel like England really struggled in the final third. I think Phil Foden was a big part of that, and a lot of people are criticizing Phil Foden's individual quality and his underwhelming performance as an individual, but I think most of the blame lies tactically here, because if you look at Phil Foden at Manchester City, he plays a very specialized role, a role where he sits in the pockets and he is a ball carrier because he's got excellent ball control, close ball control, and he's able to navigate his way through tight spaces, and he has a good understanding of how to play in between the lines. So I feel like Phil Foden isn't really the guy you want to get things ticking. He's the guy that you want to carry the ball out of tight spaces and then quickly offload it to someone else and make a run so that he can play a 1-2. He needs an outlet. He can't do it all by himself. He's not a tempo setter, and he's not the guy who makes things happen out of nothing. He very much is the guy who plays off of his teammates. And the problem is he had Trippier on the left flank. So every time Foden got the ball into these areas, he was running himself into a blind alley. And by the time he looks up to get himself out of trouble, there's no one there. Or the person who is there is running beyond his pass rather than waiting for his pass and then waiting for Foden to make a run and they can play a quick 1-2. There is a fundamental misunderstanding, and it feels like Phil Foden just wasn't on the same wavelength as his teammates. That's the way it looked to me. So that's not a Phil Foden issue, that is an England issue, and that's an issue with the coaching setup and the tactics, as far as I'm concerned. And look, I'm a United fan. It would be very easy for me to sit here and slander Phil Foden, but honestly, I don't think he was the problem. I think if Gordon was on the pitch, on the left-hand side, Watkins came on for Kane, maybe later on in the game, and you had someone like a Mainu in the team, this England performance is a lot better. Even someone like Cole Palmer. I think Cole Palmer would have been impactful. He couldn't have been much worse than the likes of Foden, the likes of Trent in today's game. So this is all food for thought. Instead, Gareth Southgate decided to bring on Gallagher, which is a shocking substitution. Unbelievable. So as far as I'm concerned, he's the real problem. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Not really going to say too much about Serbia. They weren't really expected to win this game, and despite the pressure they were able to put on in the last half an hour, you could tell they just didn't have the quality to punish England in the final third. You know, the few counter-attacking opportunities they got and the few opportunities they were able to generate by piercing balls into the middle of the box, they were nothing chances because nobody was on the end of them, unfortunately. And they didn't really make Pickford work for most of the game. They started to take long shots here and there and force saves out of Pickford here and there, but nothing where you think, ooh, that could have gone in if they were serious about life. You know, they were mostly half chances, I would say. But yeah, man, I'm not going to keep you guys here any longer. Also, I don't want to wake people up, so I am going to wrap this video up. It was an interesting performance by England. I think a lot of red flags. If I'm an England fan, to be honest, I'm not very happy with that performance. And I'm very much going into the next game with a lot of cautious optimism and a lot of maybe pessimism, actually, because I don't think there is much to be positive about. Besides Saka's performance, besides Bellingham's performance, and besides Gay's performance, I don't think there was really anything to write home about in that England team. So yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new. Peace.